Well, I was waiting for you to welcome me
Oh
back.
my goodness, I didn't actually hear the director telling us to go. Good morning, all happy faces right here in Morning Cafe. Thank you so much for waking up with us. 16 minutes past 6 a.m. tumechelewa, lakini it's because Christmas is around the corner and Fred is back. I'm so happy to see him.
I never left. 9 days to Christmas. You know what I missed? The countdown to Christmas.
Really? That's all you missed? Go back. Go back home.
Okay, to review you. But anyway, it's 9 days to Christmas. Let's take a look at the headlines. They're not so nice today. Death on highways. And this is something across the region. I will be seeing this.
Right. This is so timely because today is World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims.
Wow. It is indeed a big discussion.
Agencies of Slavery, the Standard.
And they've really stuck on that story. Talaka yanukia mlimani, maswala ya siasa.
All right. The Star, big Gen Z lie. ABC raises red flag on voter apathy. Many polls
It is such a long sentence. It's just supposed to be a headline. But anyway, it's Tuesday and it's not for sale.
Waseme Gen Zs are not registering as voters.
Yeah, Maita's business, how new NSSF rates will shrink payslips next year. Ulithani ngoja. We'll be back to take a look at that one. Okay, People Daily talks about something else. I don't know why hatujaekewa hapo, lakini probably tutarudi kuiangalia.
Right.
For State of the Nation, Harrison Kinyanjui, wakili, political analyst Fwamba, NC Fwamba, and Arnold Maliba, party leader, Progress Plus Alliance. After that, we'll be having
Jacqueline Karasha, this is CEO and Principal Officer, Sanlam Alliance Life Insurance Kenya. We'll be talking matters life insurance, why you should insure your life.
All right. Across in the region, audit on government land starts. That's in Uganda. Matters campaigns still down here. A lot of campaigns on Chagulani, Mafabi, and Omutabi. What they did kwa kona pale kama kawaida. Alafu, yes.
What killed Ugandans most in 2025?
I think the big one is still road accidents. And that's what I was telling you, matters road safety across the region is big news.
Right.
So what killed Ugandans most in 2025? Kuna wale hospitals kama kawaida. I think the total deaths reported in hospitals, lakini accidents still form a big chunk of that.
Bongo, kitanzi, cha madereva, same. Of course, they say madereva wote wa magari ya abiria kupangiwa muda wa kikomo kwa barabarani nchini. Yesterday, also that commission led by the Chief Justice also gave out some, directives ahead of the festivities.
It is still the same story on the front page of the Citizen. Proposed rules seeking to curb driver fatigue, which is a big cause of most of the road accidents. Buses, especially those ones that travel at night to upcountry, wingi wa walali matrela pale, alafu zina contribute to that. So yes, matters road safety across the 3 nations in East Africa. Big news today.
All right.
Before we come back and take a look at the local dailies, let's take a look at the weather situation kidogo tucheze kama sisi hapa. Alafu tunaanza upande gani? Tunaanza na
Naivasha. 13
13
degrees this morning in Naivasha. It's a partly cloudy day. No chances of rain today. Highs of 24 degrees. That's
comfortable weather. Muranga kule tunaona it's a bit warmer at 16 degrees currently. It'll get as high as 26. They also say it's a partly cloudy day. Very little precipitation later on in the evening.
All right. Tuangalie holiday weather kule Malindi. 27 degrees this morning. Feels like 29. It's a cloudy day. Very little precipitation, 10%. Highs of 30 degrees.
All right. Up north in Wajir, 25 degrees. Hiyo ni kama tutasikia. Highs of 34 degrees. They say it's mostly cloudy, but joto itazidi. Huko hakuna mvua hata ukifanya nini. Lake Victoria region.
Siaya, 18 degrees as we speak. It's a cloudy day as well. 27 degrees. Precipitation 10%, very minimal.
Finally in the city here, 15 degrees this morning. Mostly cloudy. Highs of 25, which is comfortable weather. A bit of precipitation expected. Kulikuwa na manyunyu saa hii asubuhi. But nothing out of the ordinary. Ni ile walikuwa wamesema ati hakutakuwa na mvua, lakini ni kama mvua inakuja kidogo kidogo. Traffic situation, and I think this is probably the best time to take a look at traffic.
Right.
Across most roads in the city. Na ndio watu wameamka pale Jogoo Road, Makadara, getting into town. Still a lot of busy traffic, especially around Machakos bus station, Railways bus station as well. Pale inamaanisha people are traveling up country. Other roads kule kwingine, nothing much. There's a stretch here at Safari Park, red before you get to Garden City Mall. So those using Thika Road, there's a bit of an issue there. I don't know exactly what that is. Meaning that most of the traffic is held up back kule, and meaning that Pangani interchange is a bit comfortable this morning for those coming from Kiambu Road. The other side of town, Mombasa Road, not bad. And the other major highways, Wayaki Way into the CBD is looking green as well. So not bad traffic. Lakini later on mchana, it gets busy. Remember, holiday shopping ishaanza.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies in depth. Let's allow things to change. I didn't say quote of the day.
Bring your A game always, not just sometimes. Showing up fully every time guarantees growth, trust, and security in your role.
Now, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies.
Death on highways is a big story there on the front page of the dailies. A lot of talk around accidents on our roads, especially during the festivities. So they say more people have been killed in road crashes this year compared to last year, with fears casualties will rise during the busy festive season towards year end unless swift action is taken to restore sanity. So pale kuna picha moja anasema 4,682 people have been killed in 2025, and now this is a slight increase from last year, about 5%. But 5% means over 200 people. 200 people more have died. The situation is not getting better, and it involves a lot of public transport. So yesterday they came up with there was an emergency government meeting over the alarming death toll. There's a multi-stakeholder meeting, including even the judiciary. And the question is, do they contribute to some of this? Like lack of action even after accidents happen. Does it contribute to the kind of negligence we're seeing? So negligence, authorities on the spot for failing to strictly enforce traffic rules. So it is lack of enforcement that has been listed here as part of the big problem. Remember even this story up here where they talk about the former Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo. Still, his death attributed to a road accident. So yes, indeed, something to talk about. Yeah, that girl who was hugging a tree finally got to State House yesterday. It was interesting.
Yeah.
To see the president and the deputy president planting a tree with Trufena Muthoni.
Aliuliza rais, so unaweza fanya ngapi? Rais akasema, nimekuachia.
He cannot hug a tree.
He cannot. But we can't. Trufena is a star. Can you? How far can you go?
Hugging a tree?
Yeah.
Ask me to hug other things.
All right.
So the main story there, I think, is on page 4,
Right.
that thing to do with the highways. So on page 4, the headline is Highways Bloodbath. Justice sector outlines ways to curb accidents. You see now, the shift is not on even the cops or even the police, it's on the justice sector, which is a different approach altogether. And yeah, it continues even on page 7. Yes, interesting.
All right. The Standard, the only story covered on the front page here is agencies of slavery. Russia's dragnet and as police work to dismantle a suspected multinational crime ring, trafficking Kenyans to Russia to fight in the war against Ukraine. Witness statements and evidence this newspaper has reviewed point to 2 major entities and several individuals involved in selling their fellow countrymen into this deadly trap. Statements from 22 suspects arrested in Athi River on September 24th reveal how desperate job seekers were enticed by dubious agents with promises of better opportunities abroad, only to realize after their arrest that they had been lured into an unimaginable and perilous situation. This story has been covered on page 4 and 5.
And I'm just looking at this flyer that they've used there, this one, Talent Shepherd, so work in Russia, and it promises even salaries for those working as butchers, 88,000 shillings, pig farm operators, 76,000. Now you see, now these are amounts that look very attractive to Kenyans.
Yes.
If you tell any Kenyan you'll earn 88,000, to a majority of Kenyans they would rush for it. Yes.
And that's Kenyan shillings.
Kenyan
That's
shillings,
good money.
Yeah.
That's the only story covered here on the front page. Tukiangalia ndani ya rakaraka, they make mention of matters education. Senior school placement for pioneer learners begins. Seating KCSE at 32 is another very interesting story there.
That's a nice story.
Yeah, it's never too late to start. And suspects named recruiters behind Kenya-Russia trafficking ring. That story on page 4. That's the Standard.
Matters politics given prominence on Taifa Leo. Talaka yanukia mlimani. Wanasema ukanda wa mlima Kenya mashariki walalamika kutumiwa kisiasa na upande wa mlima Kenya magharibi. So they have a picture of the former deputy president and his successor there. Wamengangana pale. Anasema kimenuka. Waziri Ruku na Gavana Mbarire watishia kukomesha ushirikiano wa mashariki na magharibi wa mlima Kenya, wakidai jirani zao hawataki kuwaunga mkono kisiasa, ilhali wamekuwa wakiwaunga kwa miaka mingi. Naibu wa Rais Kindiki ndiye kiongozi wa ngazi ya juu kutoka mashariki, huku mtangulizi wake Gachagua akiwa wa magharibi. Masuala ya vifo barabarani pewa kipaumbele pale chini. Malaika wa kifo aganda barabarani. NEC yaonya uorodheshaji wa KJSEA. Mashule mengi hajaelewa kwamba hiyo school ranking, we did away with it. They're still ranking schools and putting students pale juu. Wasema hao walipata 72 points, doing how many points. Huko tulitoka. We moved on. Trufena pia akajipata kwenye ikulu akipanda miti na rais pale juu. Arati ataka Ruto aingie ODM. Kwambia siasa.
Walisema wanasimama president 2027.
Lazima watafield candidate wa president. Taifa Leo.
The Star, big Gen Z lie. IEBC raises red flag on voter apathy and many polls show. This story is on page 4 and 5. This photo here is of an elderly voter after casting her vote in bed and not...
Wanaitwa reliable block. However, they will always show up to vote.
Yes.
Gen Z ndio
Domo tu pale social media. Data shows 57% of all eligible voters are under age of 35. Lakini hamtoki kuvote. That's the main story here on the front page. Why Winnie Odinga is under scrutiny in ODM is another interesting story on the top strip of the Star this morning. And when illness steals light, seeking hope for Quinta is a special feature there. The Star is not for sale today. Grab a copy free of charge. Right.
Finally, matters business on the Business Daily. How new NSSF rates will shrink payslips next year. Now, workers to pay a maximum of 6,480. Najua walikuwa may face out. Wakasema fine, they'll roll it out. That's 6% over 3 years. So wakaongeza mwaka jana, mwaka huu wakaongeza, mwaka unaokuja wanaongeza zaidi. Yeah, annual collections to cross 100 billion shilling mark in 2026. So workers will pay up to 2,160 shillings extra. Na ukumbuke kuna nini, cabinet sat yesterday and finally approved that infrastructure fund. Wamesema wataifund hivi na hivi, lakini mimi naona ni kama pia kutakuwa na plan ya kusema hata sisi wa Kenya hii fund ni yao. Turudi kwao waongeze pesa pale.
Chaitana.
More pain coming your way in 2026. Chinese firms to share excess Mau Road toll fees with state. Hii ni nyingine. Hiyo barabara tutalipia, tuspende. On the ticker, Treasury now rules out public service job cuts. Something positive, and the shilling hit 16-month high against the dollar. The shilling has now strengthened above the 129 level against the dollar for the first time in 16 months. IMF sifikiri watafurahia na hii mambo. Hawapendi ikiwa this strong.
This is a PPP though. It's Chinese firm to share excess Mau Road toll fees with state.
It is PPP, but now they say, okay, fine. If they get more money from the toll fees, they'll give the state. Is that what they're saying?
Actually, they cannot give the state. The state gives them money, right?
It's a PPP. So they're supposed, one according to the deal that was signed, they're supposed to recoup their money over a 27-year period. Are they saying that over the 27 years, if the toll fees is more than the loan owed, they will give the surplus to government?
All right, once again,
these are the three gentlemen who will be in studio for State of the Nation in a short few minutes. Wakili Harrison Kenyanjui will be with us alongside political analyst Fwamba NC Fwamba and Arnold Maliba, party leader Progress Plus Alliance. That coming your way in about, we should
2
actually
minutes.
be there.
All right, later on, Jacqueline Karasha will be here for us to talk about life insurance. Tuangalie caricature. It's People Daily.
And I find it interesting that now Mike Sonko is being caricatured as being part of the united opposition. It's current running on an engine called Greed. That vehicle that you wameweka hapo wote. They're the engine in this stalled car called the opposition. Do you get the feeling that the opposition has stalled?
Somehow.
So there's a lot of greed. Mike Sonko pia ameongezwa pale. He has a new party.
NDP. I am only safeguarding the interests of Mount Kenya region. This is the
Lands CS
Alice Wahome, right? Oh, hata ameandikwa hapo Lands.
Akona farasi wawili. Ako kule kwa minister. Na bado anataka elective position.
The Standard.
All right.
Daily Nation.
Matters road carnage at least given prominence. It is a big discussion today. Now hapa kuna kila mtu wanasema, you see gavel, masuala ya justice. Wanasema it's a justice system that has delayed or has caused or aggravated the number of road accidents that we see. I think lack of action by the ESCC, the police service, and even the judiciary this time round were not spared. So let's deal with road carnage. Will they? Ama ni kelele tu. That's the Daily Nation.
Finally, the Star. Which way Sonko? Sonko yuko pale, the new kid on the block with his new party.
Really?
NDP.
Is he that big? I don't know.
Oh, Sonko.
Two cartoons now include a caricature of Sonko now.
Ata jana, he was in the caricatures.
So in the one, I think it was People Daily,
Yeah.
he's been clustered among the United Opposition.
Yes.
But this one seems to suggest that he could be looking the other way as well. Which way Sonko?
Yeah. All right. Those are the stories making headlines regionally and locally, so do stay with us. So on our socials pale, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, we can already see you. Hilary Otolo and Ewa anasema good morning everyone. Good morning to you, Hilary. Omosomba anajiita Honorable anasema good morning from Nyamira County. Good morning to you. On YouTube, we can see David Mugada anasema morning watching live from Kwale County. Welcome back in the Muli. Nimekumiss, so acha show ishike.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, itambeba hadi Friday. All right, we want to plug you once again to Fun City Gardens Utawala for some great stuff ahead of the festivities. And the question you're asking you once again is, who are you taking to Fun City Gardens to win yourself a voucher? 3 reasons why you should visit Fun City this weekend. They offer limited outdoor games at only 1,100 shillings, swimming at only 300 shillings, mascots and delicious foods from 150 shillings. The number is also there, but there are a lot of things that they offer. Director, if you can see that,
Yes.
birthday party with mascots, and here's something else.
Where fun meets family, they say that from end of year corporate parties, unajua tumeingia kwa hiyo nini system ya end of year party.
Yeah.
By the way, nyinyi kampuni yenu mko na bash.
Germany, please do something for us. Somebody said
We should go to
aliniona
Fun
mahali
City.
on Twitter.
Akafikiria mko na bash.
Imagine.
School fun days, festive events, and magical family gatherings. So Fun City brings your celebrations to life with entertainment, great food, swimming, spacious venues, and activities for everyone. So this holiday season, celebrate big, celebrate happy, celebrate at Fun City. And call this number to make a booking, 0722 238 988. Once again, 0722 238 988. Call or WhatsApp Fun City for the festive season.
Absolutely. TV47 Digital on X. My handle is at @_Dida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is at Fred Indemole.
See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments,
Mimi simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Frederick tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Frederick is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Yaani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet.
Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, that I'm giving the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
this latest accident on Sunday night, the tragedy claimed the lives of 8 members of Rangeyo SDA Church. The accident occurred near Chabera along the Oyugis Sondi Road, killing a total of 10 people, with 6 admitted to the hospital after surviving with injuries.
Hii Krismasi watu wajihadhari sana na waangalie barabara kwa utulivu. Madereva wote waweze kuangalia kwa utulivu.
Wale ambao walinusurika watu 5 wako hospitali Nyamira, na sisi tuka hapa Oyugis tumekuja kuchukua mwili wa mpendwa wetu ambaye alikuwa ameaga.
The deceased had traveled to Kakamega to attend a wedding on Saturday and were returning home when they lost their lives, just 40 kilometers from home. Among those who died were the bride's parents and brother.
When we reached the scene, we found that already 10 were confirmed dead.
This bringing the total number of people who have died in the last 24 hours to more than 10. 7 more had died in another accident in Taita Taveta last week, while another one in Nakuru, Ngata area, while former Lugari MP Cyrus Chirongo died in an accident in Naivasha on Saturday. According to the National Transport and Safety Authority, more than 4,195 people died in road accidents by November 13th this year, while more than 9,000 were seriously injured. NTSA says this is a rise compared to 4,077 who died in road accidents in the year 2024 in the same period. The government says that it will deploy mobile courts, roadblocks and ESCC officers in a bid to curb road accidents. In another incident, a 25-year-old man died while receiving treatment at Nakuru Referral Hospital after being involved in a road accident at the Ngata area along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway in the early morning hours.
Nilipata tu gari imegongana na ile ingine, nikajikuta nimekwama kapiti.
12 passengers were injured in the crash, with 2 still admitted in hospital, while 9 others were treated and discharged.
Received that patient in a very critical condition, but we have stabilized him. We are now preparing for theatre.
Chief Justice Martha Koome now warning against cases of bribery that have also been blamed for the increase in cases.
I think no driver should be on the road for more than 8 hours without a stop.
Justice Koome has urged motorists to strictly observe traffic laws and called on members of the public to report traffic violations.
You cannot aim to maximize, then endanger the lives of the drivers and endanger the lives of the passengers.
Yes, indeed. Road carnage is a big discussion this morning, 9 days to Christmas, and as families and the entire nation and the world approaches the festive season. This is a big concern, not just in Kenya, but across the region. Just looking at the papers this morning across Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, everyone is talking on the front page about road safety. It is a big story here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Death on highways. They say more people have been killed in road crashes this year compared to last year, with fears casualties will rise during the busy festive season towards year end unless swift action is taken to restore sanity. Something interesting happened yesterday. The National Council on the Administration of Justice, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, met and they were urging motorists, riders and pedestrians to observe traffic rules. Now, it is the approach that they seem to be taking this time round, that the justice sector taking a lead in this. Some of the proposed ways to curb road accidents is deployment of mobile courts to punish rogue motorists, extra roadblocks, we've seen this before, crackdown on motorbikes violating traffic laws, anti-graft officers along major highways to curb corruption, which is a big problem, standby ambulances for quick response, and the public being urged to report violations through a toll-free number, as well as setting up of road safety public education campaigns. According to authorities, most accidents on highways are caused by human error, drunk driving, reckless overtaking, speeding, and failure to observe traffic signs. Another story, still on the front page, about the death of veteran politician Cyrus Chirongo, who incidentally also perished in a road accident. Allow me to welcome my panelists this morning. My immediate left, Arnold Maliba, Party Leader, Progress Plus Alliance. Karibu sana, Arnold. Political analyst Fwamba NC Fwamba also with us this morning. It's good to have you in studio. And Wakili Harrison Kenyanjui. Gentlemen, this is how we begin our conversation. This morning matters to do with road carnage, but it is the approach that they seem to be taking with the justice sector being on the forefront of this. Do you think that that has been the biggest failure, that probably there's been very little consequence in as far as violations of traffic regulations?
That partly is or could be listed among the issues that contribute, or rather factors that contribute to the numbers we see. If you actually check out, you realize there has been a steady increase from 2023. Literally, we don't work around this. We make it news as is now. Then after that, of course, we will continue and move on as if nothing has happened. I think that as a nation, we actually need to be serious, because if you fail
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget Tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Yaani wewe furahia umekaa na kasukuma. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet.
Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. Sema, that don't give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe. No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omar every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gun. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Hey, I mean, you know, nakubali.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. unforgettable. Only on TV47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Freke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Freke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet.
Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, that I'm giving the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe. No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I didn't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
I mean, you know,
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget Tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasukuma. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. I say, man, that don't give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
No.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your nose alone won't always tell you if your eggs have gone bad. To find out, gently place uncooked eggs in a bowl of cold water. If an egg sinks to the bottom, it's A-OK. If it floats,
All right, welcome back, and we do apologize for that technical hitch. I believe we are now sorted, and we continue that conversation this morning with Arnold Maliba, Party Leader, Progress Plus Alliance, former NC Former, political analyst, and Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui. Our focus this morning, as highlighted on the front page of the Daily Nation, is a road carnage, with reports indicating that the number of deaths linked to road accidents have gone up by at least 5% in comparison to 2024. It's the measures that have been put in place now, given that meeting that happened yesterday, deployment of mobile courts, extra roadblocks that we've seen before. And do you think we've gotten it right, Maliba, in identifying where the biggest problem is? Because some of these measures have been tried before, but they seem not to be working.
Like I was saying before we had that little hitch, the biggest problem has always been the human error. That is the biggest contributor to accidents on our roads. Drunk driving, we're talking about distracted driving, fatigue, and of course lane indiscipline. Of course, plus speeding. That is the biggest contributor to accidents in our country. The second one, of course, is poor infrastructure, but this is quite minimal, not as around this poor infrastructure, we get along quite well. We find ways of getting about it. Then, of course, vehicle issues, the state of vehicles, that some of them are actually unroadworthy, poor maintenance and such. And then, of course, number 5 is always weak enforcement and corruption. Mm-hmm. So, as much as weak enforcement and corruption is an issue, it speaks to the other 3 very largely, because if it's an issue to do with the training, you just saw the other day people having to pay to get, or rather to pass the driving exam. There was an ESCC issue on the other end. Every day people are caught either overlapping and doing some other stuff. If there's anything really that speaks of what corruption is in this country, is normally how you run the traffic department. Mm-hmm. So I do not think that that periodical intervention alone takes care of this, because you see the 4,700 plus is actually distributed across the year. So because now there is a little bit of enhanced numbers, higher numbers per day, at least in this month, for obvious reasons, the other numbers have already come all along.
Okay.
So we will be rushing around, but then probably it's important that we do an overhaul of the traffic department. Mm-hmm. It's very, very important, because if we do not do that, we are going to have this language every day. Like I've told you earlier on, is that we've seen a constant increment from 2023, 2024, and now we are in 2025. The numbers have kept on going higher. So that is one. But like, I'd love to finish by saying this, that for the case of road accidents, it's a matter of poor planning. As a country, we just treat it casually. It's not something bigger. It's going to make news now, and then in January we will still have a little bit of that. Then we will forget. We will remember it in Easter when there's a little bit of higher numbers again, and then again in December. Yes. So we have never, as a country, socialized ourselves that these can actually be handled properly, because we have got institutions that should take care of this. Yes. It's so much of failure in planning.
Yes. They seem to suggest that it's a lack of enforcement of traffic regulations, because they've identified the major causes: human error, drunk driving, reckless overtaking, speeding, and failure to observe traffic signs. Despite the fact that we have all this provided for in as far as laws are concerned, do you believe that the justice system and the role it plays in this whole web, that could be the biggest gap?
Fred, I think as a country we have enough laws that are supposed to take care of us. But interestingly, we have a very bad culture as a country, in that people make mistakes deliberately, assuming that they are not going to get caught. Mm-hmm. And once they get caught, they're the ones who first make proposals of corruption, bribes to the police. And money is so tempting that people, once offered money, are easily swayed to think that they are going to get an extra coin. Therefore, I think we need a general cultural change of individuals at a very personal level. If we do that, then that would be the beginning point. And again, in terms of law enforcement, we must be consistent all through the year. Right now, it is becoming so much publicized because it's a holiday season and so many people are traveling. But if we constantly hold on to a culture of self-discipline by motorists, by pedestrians, by everybody who is on the road, then we'll get to a better situation. For example, every person who is on the road must always remember that there are other road users that are supposed to be also taken care of. You take responsibility for your own life and also take care of other people.
Okay.
If you look at the traffic jams, for example, like right now people are traveling towards Western, you'll see traffic jams coming up because people want to overlap and eventually the whole road gets clogged. When they get caught, they want to tempt the police officers with the bribes. So who is to blame? I think the ordinary motorists are supposed to be responsible, and that should be done through cultural change.
All right. And as far as enforcement, they've brought together the three arms or institutions that are supposed to help curb road carnage: the ESCC to fight corruption, the police, of course, to enforce traffic laws, and now the judiciary. This body is being run by the Chief Justice. Now, one of the things they've come up with is deployment of mobile courts along the highways for instant punishment of offenders. Do you think, Wakili, that could be a possible solution to what we see now?
No, I don't. Respect, tremendous respect. It's all knee-jerk. This country has human resources, and you wonder why is it that we deploy such redundant measures? Rule 75 of the traffic rules states that there is a duty to every motorist to keep left. Today you drive on the road, everybody wants to keep right. All those are traffic offenders. You see all these riders, motorbikes, riding on the wrong side of the road. They are not arrested. It's an offense. And it's become a culture. So having a mobile court, which is illegal, unconstitutional, and I wonder if the Chief Justice has familiarized herself again with respect to her. Article 50, Sub-Article 2D talks of a public court established under the Constitution. Even this online, sort of court system is all unconstitutional. That's a topic for another day. You see, the indiscipline that happens, it's not because, as Mr. Fomba has said, we don't have laws. We have. But they are not enforced. Come nightfall, any time beyond 7:30 p.m., for instance, which traffic officer do you see on the road at night? If you have a road traffic accident, God forbid, you will struggle to get the traffic police coming on the scene for the longest period. And so that can contribute to this. These figures that we are having bandied around, 4,000 plus, I think they're just fictional. They're fictitious. They're guess estimates. Why do I say that? In 2004, when Mishuki was then in charge of the transport docket, the then TLB came up with a figure of 3,030 something. Now, you want to tell me when you project forward this many years, given the increase in road traffic, the motor vehicles, the number of drivers that are churned every year, that we have 4,000, those are fictional figures. Majority of these fatalities happen without being recorded, or at least officially being recognized by the NTSA. Do they have, for instance, a weekly or a daily sort of update by every police station for purposes of statistics? They don't. So coming now to the issue you are asking, is a mobile court a solution? For instance, how will that resolve that gridlock at a roundabout? Where some, I don't want to call it, a very selfish move by some road user. You know you're supposed to give way to someone in the roundabout
the people
when you're
to
joining.
that court? People who overlap without, with impunity, without observing any rules?
Yes, so I'm asking, my rhetorical question is now, how will that indiscipline be, taken care of by a mobile court? That is not the solution.
The thinking is that instant punishment for these offenders would help. Instead of giving time for someone to be taken to court at a later date, that if at all you're presented before court instantly, then that would act as a deterrent.
No. I think it's serving a collateral purpose. The collateral purpose that is being served here is that there is this taken away from the physical court and from your right. And so I'm not surprised that the Chief Justice will be saying that, if you want a lawyer, because she knows at the back of her mind, with tremendous respect to her, that would be unconstitutional. Every person has, under Article 50, that right to be represented. And so she knows, she tells you that, you can call your lawyer and we will engage these. I mean, this is a first, because it is an agenda. And that agenda is to bring in the digitized form of legal representation. But let me say this also. Look at our roads that are being constructed now. They're prisons. I mean, those are literal prisons. Suppose you use Thika Road, for instance, Thika Superhighway, or even the expressway. Your vehicle has a mechanical problem. God forbid. It's during one of these rainy periods. Where do you drive your vehicle off the edge of the road? Who comes to bail you out in terms of the highway? So we have a road structure that is being constructed as we go along from the British standards of the curb that was no more than 4 inches high to a foot long. You tell me, in the event of a fire, for instance, during that gridlock on Thika Road, which the president was saying, it's getting so gridlocked that we need now another, expressway. You tell me, one vehicle exploding, a fire exploding, it will create a havoc. We see that disaster. But where are the road signs? Okay. All these road contractors construct the roads, and you have a road engineer who comes and says, I certify that the contractor has actually executed the works as indeed constructed. We don't see a single road sign. And then we hear, these road signs are stolen by some, metal smelters. But this is ridiculous.
Gentlemen, I'm looking at the main causes of accidents.
Yes.
Drunkenness, human error, reckless overtaking, speeding, and failure to observe traffic signs. Fine, the infrastructure may be problematic, but these appear to speak to a lack of deterrence, that I know I can do all this without any punishment. What would help to deter? In other jurisdictions, instant fines work.
Do you know why infrastructure is actually very important in this? It's because almost 70 to 80% of the numbers we're talking about are pedestrians. And on most of our roads, there is no provision for NMT, non-motorized transport, people who are literally going on foot. Wherever you go, you realize that roads are somehow meant for vehicles only. Even on Thika Road, if you were to go around, there are sections where you cannot walk on foot. You will be forced to come back to the main road. And if we were to be fair, if it were anything constitutional, we would have to ensure that there is provision for NMT, because it's part and parcel of people walking around. I'm not going to use the bush to move around when there is a road. Okay. It's a public road. So infrastructure is very, very important. But then the human error element, where we have got drunk driving, we have got the misbehavior, we've got the speeding and everything else.
Without consequence.
Without consequence. Where do you put it? Do you really talk about weak enforcement? There is simply no political will to stop road carnage. In this country, there is no political will. So the blood of these 4,000 people must be actually on the heads of the people in government, the people who are running the ministry in transport, the people in the police, squarely there. Let us not really go around this, because when these guys want to stop demonstrations, they will pull everything and stop that. If today the government of the day decided to stop the road carnage, we will actually have, remember when Michuki showed up? There was no new law. He just pulled existing laws and regulations from a shelf and enhanced and actually enforced them. The problem we have is lack of political will. Our leaders and institutions cannot be sounding, leaders of institutions cannot be sounding helpless. You hear them talk. I saw the CJ saying that do not give any bribe, there will be a As in, she cannot be out there sounding helplessly. Of course, partly because primarily the police might not be cooperating. But if the police wanted to stop road carnage, they would. If the political class wants to stop this, what we lack is everything else we are giving here. There will always be a tendency to have deviance. People will always have these challenges we have. But every time we have wanted to stop something, we've actually done very well. So this blood is squarely on the heads of the political leadership, the leaders in the police, and the people at the judiciary. Let's not really pretend around here. We are simply taking people off and not caring because somehow they are statistics.
Final comment on this. This instant punishment, courts, breathalyzer gadgets, they don't seem to work in our situation.
Wherever there is a problem, there must be a solution. And I think what the Chief Justice has come up with is an attempt towards a solution. And this is not a new idea. Remember, the mobile courts were introduced by Dr. Willy Mutunga during his tenure when people were talking about judicial activism. For as long as there's a bigger picture towards trying to resolve this issue, then it's a commendable step. Even the ARCO blow is also a good step. Remember, there are people who went to court and made it look like it was illegal. But you see, people have decided not to obey the law, not to take care of themselves. So the best thing is to put in place interventions that can ensure that we reduce the carnage. Then again, there's also an interesting approach that the government is trying to establish or to advance. I'm happy that President William Ruto has come up with a new approach towards expanding our infrastructure because the population is increased, we have more vehicles on the road, and then there's also the modern way of constructing our roads. So I believe that the future roads that will be constructed will factor in accommodation for pedestrians and motorists equally.
Right, yes. And it is indeed the biggest conversation across the region.
That's important, an issue that I really need to mention. You know, when the CJ, or rather the enhanced quote-unquote measures to slow down on road accidents actually being done, do you know what happens in this country at the end of the year? People in manufacturing, people who are in business, receive a lot of government from regulators and the enforcers at the end of the year a lot of times. Because what this actually has done is that now we have introduced a new toll station for corruption. That is a fact. Because every time there is a crackdown, quote unquote, people, and the people in these enforcement spaces, just ask people who are running manufacturing, for example. They have had a lot of regulators showing up in December because people are looking for Christmas money and fees for next year for private schools and whatever. So that particular knee-jerk approach to this, rather than having a sustainable way of dealing with these issues, and remember it is multi-sectoral, because you will have to start from people in Kura, the people who are in transport, people who are designing roads, to the police, to the people in courts. This idea, whatever the new jack measures that have actually come in, is simply a jackpot to the corrupt fellows here. Because you are only going to now open a new tolling station once you bring in the quote-unquote the mobile court. You are going to have
when you talk about road structure, you look at the highway authority, Kenya. Look at the stretch of this Limuru Road from Westlands all the way up to Maimahiu. What are all those rumble strips for? What are all those bumps for? That's supposed to be a highway, for heaven's sake. But someone, in my humble view, ate the money that was meant for a flyover. So you're risking the lives of those pedestrians while you're contributing to the very accidents that are caused by those rumble strips, because someone here is driving totally unaware, because they are not marked, there are no signs, and they probably were just erected at night without any notification, and they're not supposed to be on a highway. Someone is getting away with that. Someone is getting away. And I like what he said. The blood of these people is on those officials, but they find sleep at 3 a.m.
We should have sustainable efforts, but I also needed to point out that it's important that every person in respective institutions should carry out their responsibilities diligently. For example, if there are police officers who are taking bribes, there is the ESCC there. So for as long as all institutions are working, then we'll be able to move on.
All three are there, ESCC, the police, and even the judiciary, all represented in this multi-sectoral group, coming up with resolutions on emergency countering of road accidents. 4,682 people have died so far in 2025. 9 days to Christmas, and the risk is that the number of accidents could increase as more and more people travel up country for the festivities. We do hope that this will change, but it's a problem across the region, not just in Kenya. In Tanzania, they're facing the same, and in Uganda as well. They're talking about it this morning on the dailies. So that's a big story on the front page of the Daily Nation. The other big happening was what happened yesterday after a cabinet meeting, during a cabinet meeting rather, and the bold and ambitious 5 trillion shilling roadmap to transform Kenya into first world economy kicked off yesterday in earnest after the cabinet approved the establishment of the National Infrastructure Fund and the Sovereign Wealth Fund to anchor the country's long-term development. According to Cabinet, the NIF, National Infrastructure Fund, will be a limited liability company which will be funded through domestic resource, mobilization of domestic resources, the privatization of government assets and others, which has been very much criticized. And Maliba, let's start from there. I know the other things the cabinet approved, including, and that is linked to the discussion we were having, road licenses, driving licenses through a PPP as well, which appears to be the new model of doing things. But when it comes to the infrastructure fund, if we could start from there, many people say that this is just another campaign promise, and that could result in higher taxation for Kenyans to fund this NIF. Do you agree, or do you have some faith in these new plans?
First of all, I think Kenya has got 56 funds. I'm talking about public funds in different, cutting across, we've got about 56 funds. As of yesterday, I think if you add on this, that will make them 58 funds. Some of those funds you even don't know about them. For example, have you ever heard about the Intelligence Infrastructure Fund? You would be surprised. We've got so many funds. Sometimes I tend to look at how we do these things, and they look like they're very noble and very new ideas. It is governance by fund. But then let's get looking at this as for what it is. Number one, why I have got a problem with the infrastructure fund is because the president has literally amended the constitution without going through the whole idea of amending the constitution. What did he do at first? First of all, he was able to play around with the parliament to cede their power to oversight the sale of public assets. It was the route to this. Mm-hmm. So, number one, you trick parliament, or rather parliament allows itself to be played out of a constitutional role to oversight the sale, or rather, when you talk about the oversight role, these are the people's watchmen. These are our eyes when anything that pertains to public resources is concerned. So parliament gives its way on the sale of public assets. Secondly, now we have got this, whatever we call the infrastructure fund. This infrastructure fund is President William Ruto's way of running away, number one, from budgets, and number two, from oversight. With this now, the president is simply telling us that he is tired with the budget and the budgeting process. He wants a pot where he can dip in his hand and get money out all the time as much as he wants. The infrastructure fund is actually a way of running away from the budgeting process. And with that, since our budgeting process is actually a legal process, a legislative process, what has he done? He has sidestepped the budgeting process, and therefore now he will have an open port where he can dip in and get money as much as he wants. That is one. So, I don't want to talk about the sovereign fund, whatever he had promised. But what we have here is a very dangerous scenario. This is a modern day golden bag. This is a modern day Anglo-leasing. That the next step in the Muli, you will actually see this, that once we have started this particular fund, you will hear about securitization of this 5 trillion fund for purposes of getting money very fast. And do you know where that leads to? This moves directly into an approach and a strategy to raise money for campaigns. Mm-hmm. That also speaks to another decision the cabinet did yesterday. The cabinet passed, or rather approved, a decision to enter into a PPP with a private partner for purposes of managing licenses, driving licenses, so that then Now they are giving it very good policy language and very good development language, where they're talking about people are going to have instant fines, and then of course it liberates government from doing these things, and therefore what does it do? Government will then focus on its core function of governance. As a public policy person, I am a government technician, and I will tell you what this is. Those intentions are secondary. Where this particular decision started is where we are now using state access to create opportunities for friends and family, because already what started before that decision came to the cabinet, there was already, this private partner already had been identified. He did the proposal, it went through, and by the way, you would be surprised that probably yesterday, by simply having that particular decision in the cabinet, there are people who already made money out of it. But what are we going to see with that? Number one, we are going to be told, when the new partner comes in, quote unquote, you will be told that the new driving licenses that we have, the smart licenses, are not properly smart. Therefore, you will see another attempt at issuing new driving licenses. You remember we had the IDs, or rather the numbers, was it Huduma number, by the previous administration. They wasted a lot of times. We went and queued and did a lot. Then somehow that data, something happened with it, and we still went back to this old way of doing things. So there's a likelihood of having us being told we are going to reissue driving licenses at a premium cost. Secondly, you are going to have probably maintenance charges and convenience charges. Look at this. If you had a maintenance charge of 500 shillings per your smart card, quote unquote, for 10 million driving licenses, that is 5 billion shillings. So what are we doing here? What we are doing here is that we are making motoring even more expensive. That once you bring in this thing called PPP, is that you are still funding it. But what informs these decisions and these policies that are being made to look so good is so simple. It's the desire to make money. So we have got here the cabinet sitting down, quote unquote the cabinet, if there is any cabinet at all, sitting down, and then coming up with these decisions to tax Kenyans more. You are going to see yourself being told that whatever you have, that red book or that plastic card-based driving license is not smart enough. So we will have another one. And with that, you will be told, since the partner has to make money, he will not be making money from elsewhere. It is from you. You will pay convenience fees. Yes. You will pay maintenance fees. What are we doing? We are simply charging. And
it does raise a lot of serious concerns, because we know the history of how these funds are resourced. And one of them is an SSF, which on the front page of the Business Daily, we will pay more next year. This had already been planned, and it's being done in phases. It is a new way of doing things that this administration has come up with. PPPs, securitization of some of these issues, privatization of government assets. There are serious concerns that Kenyans are worried about what exactly is happening. We may not understand the legality of it. Wakili may help us with that, but these are serious concerns.
The biggest problem with people like Arnold Maliba is that they see a problem in everything, and they read mischief in everything that they see. According to him, I think the government is just supposed to sit there and do nothing. President William Ruto has declared that he wants us to become a first world country and have a path towards Singapore. How do you get there? You get there through learning the best practices. The infrastructure fund is not the first thing that Kenya is not the first country to come up with such an idea. If you talk about Singapore, that is being our role model, they have used that kind of model. The United Kingdom, South Africa, Canada, those are countries that have used this model successfully, and they are moving on well. Why not us? Why shouldn't we do what other people are doing that is helping them? The only challenge that we have, and we must ensure that we take care of those situations based on the institutions that we have established, is the issue of corruption. For as long as all these processes are done transparently, then they're in good faith and are in the best interest of the country. We are not
Probably
the first.
Our concern stems from the fact that a lot of these things should undergo parliamentary scrutiny, but we know how our parliament works.
Whatever is happening is consistent with the Constitution according to Article 201 and Article 206 of the Constitution of Kenya. Like, if it's about resources, we must share across generations. If it's about challenges, we must share across generations so that one generation is not overburdened. So that's why you might have that NSSF arrangement. Then again, we also have a PPP, so that the generations of today is not overburdened and the future generations are also equally not overburdened. but the same.
Okay. The main question is about the legality of some of these things. Many Kenyans, through their representatives in the National Assembly and the Senate, would hope that those people, that layer, would protect them. At least even if we don't get as common wananchi to understand what's happening there, they would do it. But we know that we cannot leave that to them as it is right now, the 13th Parliament is. When it comes to legality, the risks and the questions that he raises, Maliba raises, about the legality of how things are done now, the new model by this new administration, are there serious risks?
Sure, I agree with him, 100%. I need to add more and probably accentuate what it is that he has said. We're dealing with a neo-kleptomaniac system where you set up funds, where you want to hemorrhage public funds for your own selfish political ambition. All these cronies that surround this president are out there to fleece the public, not even to use a penny of that money to render services to the public. And I've come to wonder and ask myself, how is it that the cabinet can sit? One man's ideas become adopted as a national policy, and we have institutions implementing them without question. Hasn't gone to Parliament for approval. But Section 12, subsection 1. No, the cabinet has no mandate to have a policy. To have a policy that does not undergo public participation. The Constitution states that public policy is also subject to public participation. And you have a president who comes up with this fanciful idea, oh, we need to be like Singapore. Who told him that the person in Lodo wants to be like Singapore? Who told him that skyscrapers...
He has the mandate as the president.
No, he doesn't have everybody's mandate.
Allow him to finish.
Who told him that skyscrapers are the quintessential mark of human development? Who told him that the roads that he wants to build for his own fame and legacy are what we want? And I agree with my good friend over here, saying that this is a part that he wants to have for his own use. Let us have Section 12, subsection 1, G of the Public Finance Management Act respected. What does it say? Treasury has the mandate to establish a fund, the use of funds, to disband. And you take that to Parliament, the Budget Committee, and I like how he put it, very succinct, that this is taking this whole fund outside the budgetary scrutiny, outside parliamentary scrutiny. How do you have a private company managing public taxes? Surely and truly. And now hold your horses. Don't let them just overrun you because they're about to. The Kenyan person does not want to go the Singapore way outside, having the same measures for the control of corruption that are there in Singapore. And we have this idea that the president is, thinking all good for us. In that same cabinet, they sit and tell us that, we need to have an expansion of our electric generation to 10,000 megawatts. This is an idea that he went to Qatar and regurgitated, almost mocking the meeting that he had in the US with they who are funding him, with they who told him that get this data center at all carrier. He is just their puppet. And so he gets this cabinet to sit and endorse what foreigners have told him to do because he is their puppet. He needs to stay in power, perpetuating their ideas, not our ideas. What do I say? A fund such as he's talking about, the sovereign wealth fund, and we're being told that the only way we can develop and to reach the Singapore level is
It's one of the ways. It's one of the ways. We do not have to be just there. Wakili, we cannot sit there and
I'll give you an opportunity. Don't get stung. Don't get stung. Don't get stung. Please. Truth stings they who escape and try to run away from me. Nonetheless, with respect. The issue of this sovereign wealth fund did not come from this gentleman called Ruto. This is an idea that he was given when he went to Qatar and he got this data center thing with the Microsoft people, and he was told that this is the way to do it, and because we need money, we want to pump in without parliamentary scrutiny so that you can use it, so that then we can neo-colonize you. How do I mean? Hold on, just hold on, let me finish. I'm about to finish. The neo-colonization is what my good friend there has said, that you want to impose on us systems that are not for us, that we haven't even scrutinized or approved. You're telling us that I need to change your driving license to be much more digitally accessible so that I can have your data and I can actually enslave you without your consent and approval. The Kenyan people have not approved of that. And you're creating, like he said, this market for others to do, just like they did with the health so-called agreement, which is illegal, which is spending in court. I will not go there. You're giving Palantir, a company that is US-based, the opportunity to come and harvest your data and enslave you digitally.
Everything I'm seeing on this panel in the Muli is about criticism. I'm not seeing anyone coming up with a solution, or anyone saying that the president is supposed to do this.
My concern
the president was given mandate.
He can't take advice.
The president was given mandate,
elected
by the majority,
my concern
so that he leads our country in the best manner possible.
Ambition is
and
good.
he must be open to ideas.
Are we able to temper that ambition? Are we able to check that ambition? That's my question, because, and this is the question I posed to you. You avoided to answer.
Yes.
Because the concern is that Parliament, as currently constituted, is not able to scrutinize properly some of these ideas.
We have checks and balances, and everything we are doing is under the laws that are established. Article 206 of the Constitution of Kenya provides for the money being under the consolidated fund, and alternatively, money being under a fund as approved by a legislation. There's the Government-Owned Enterprise Act of 2025 that gives opportunity to the National Infrastructure Fund to be the way it's being structured.
It is that same action that I'm concerned about, that the approval of some of this legislation by the Houses of Parliament is already biased, that anything that comes from government
is not biased, because this Parliament is elected by the people. For as long as the Parliament is given that mandate, and the mandate is expressed according to Article 1 of the Constitution, the sovereign power of the people can be expressed directly or indirectly through their representatives.
It's been hijacked.
So the MPs that have been elected, you have to wait for 5 years if you think you made a wrong decision and vote for different MPs to do whatever you think they're supposed to do. But for as long as we believe in democracy, the majority will always prevail. If the Parliament will vote according to the decisions that are made by the majority, then that's what will prevail. We are a democratic nation, and that's what the Constitution provides for.
Okay.
First of all, in 1933, using a series of activities, or rather, a few things happened in 1933 that made Hitler, first of all, quote unquote, dissolve the parliament then, and then moved all the legislative power to the cabinet. And he used existing, he keeps on reminding us.
You are trying to compare the...
When you spoke, by the way, have you realized that I don't interfere when he speaks? Please relax. It's morning, I know.
Because you are misleading people.
We've taken a little bit of coffee,
people. You are giving wrong opinion,
so number one,
expressing problems.
Number one,
you don't want to express any solution.
This is
not talking about any solution. This guy is just expressing problems.
Solution. He will actually have
to allow us. Is a problem identifier.
In the Muli, you must actually allow us to communicate, because we will not heckle him.
You are misleading people.
He's actually busy heckling on the platform.
Let's be courteous.
Let's allow him. He was busy heckling. We want to speak. By the way, he uses what we call the straw man strategy. You distort and then destroy.
Who is distorting?
You are
the one who's distorting facts, and then you are changing the story to be about me.
Please allow the other panelists to express their opinions.
We are making arguments, but what does he do? He attacks our tone, he attacks our person, he doesn't attack the arguments.
Which arguments?
That is a straw man strategy.
Which is actually negativity. There's no positive activity.
It's also ad hominem.
Yes, it's ad hominem. And that is what we call... These are part and parcel of what
we are dealing with the facts.
Fallacies.
We are the ones who are focused on the president.
Having debates.
We'll have to fade out your microphone.
This is not even a debate.
Okay,
you cannot have a debater who simply flows on fallacies.
Let's not spend any more time in that exchange.
Strawman strategy.
Go ahead with the opinion.
Fallacy, a lot of fallacies.
I'll come back.
So let's get going. Number one, we have to start from this end. He throws around it's legal, it's constitutional, it's in the law and everything else. We know that when Hitler was actually killing people, including the Jews, it was legal.
Who has been killed?
It was legal.
No,
so,
I think
how does Hitler come in?
You should temper the issue of Hitler quote unquote, killing Jews.
I'm dealing with the issue of him talking about legality and constitutionalism. This is the point. This is the point.
Let him allow
that
him to
a
make
lot
his
of the bad things that have been done in the world have been done under the cloak of legalism. It has actually been done when it's actually real or rather acceptable.
So therefore,
when we speak, I've already just said here that the Constitution gives Parliament the legislative power. Yes. When you trick Parliament into passing a law where they cede their oversight responsibility,
Fred is
quote
trying
unquote,
to imply that the Parliament does not have a brain.
That is a question I asked. Allow him to answer. My concern is...
Can we be allowed to actually execute our points without...
Please go ahead. Fomba, just allow him to finish.
You are here heckling instead of making points. Look at this. It's so simple. When you trick people, is it true that Parliament ceded its power to oversight when they are selling public assets? Yes, they did. Is it actually constitutional? No. Is there a court case in the process challenging that? Yes. Have we seen so many decisions made by this government and even Parliament that have been challenged in court? Yes. Have they been found unconstitutional? Yes. So whatever we are speaking to, you don't shut us down by telling us that they don't have a brain. Those are actually very basic and pedestrian arguments. So can we actually make this particular argument moving forward? And this is the argument that we must actually make. That number one, every good deal that comes from this administration is simply mtu kufungua kibanda yake. Because there is nothing, the government already handles very complex systems. The driving license thing is actually very basic. This government already handles very complex systems. By the end of I think by this month, we have spent almost 30 billion shillings buying new systems. Has service delivery actually improved? No. Have things changed? No. Okay. When we speak about Singapore, and he was throwing around Singapore a lot, the population of Singapore is the same with the population of Nairobi. So when you're taking us to Singapore, are you going to do away with everyone else?
Do you feel what do you feel feeds this kind of resistance to this?
Because of the arguments,
many Kenyans actually share in the same, that Parliament, as currently constituted, probably is not as representative enough.
Most of the arguments Maliba is making are very speculative. But now, one thing I appreciate him for is that he is pointing out the structures that we have checks and balances. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature and the executive. Therefore, there's separation of power. And you cannot say that there are people who are doing things that are not legal. Parliament is a product of our own efforts. We voted for them. And they're representing us as per the constitutional provisions that are there. And if there are any excesses, the judiciary is there to do judicial review and suspend some of the legislations that may not be so palatable. So we have all mechanisms that are supposed to take care of our development. Therefore, we cannot be so negative-minded that everything that comes up is considered wrong. A lot of speculation around mischief on things that are being done. We cannot live like that. Does that mean that when someone is elected, he just sits there and waits for the 5 years term to expire because everything that you want to do, people will come out, Kili Kenyanjia and Arnold Maliba will come and start fighting you. If you act like that, then there's nothing that will happen in this country. Mm-hmm. We cannot move like that.
All right. We must agree that William Ruto is a good politician. That, as he says, and he does make a lot of sense, that yes, the systems that are in place seem to be working for him. The legislature is working for him. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah? That everything else appears to be legally okay.
Good politician, cunning,
good leader,
conniving, and scheming politician. Not good.
Those are very hard.
We have 349 members of Parliament.
Absolutely unnecessary.
In the mood, when he spoke, we kept quiet.
I'll let you speak.
Please.
And it is what
we have 349 members in our National Assembly and the Senate. For the president to have managed to control that group of Kenyans.
He's not even a member of Parliament himself.
Cunning schemes. And then there is this idea that he is a president, and therefore he can make a telephone call to any and probably each one of them.
Speculating again.
Hold on. And he said recently, I'm a consumer of raw NIS data. And I know that, there's an open house right there in the Senate or the Parliament, trading in the legislative business. What is he saying? What was he saying? What was he communicating? I know your deep secrets about what you do in the wee hours of the night. you know. So, and therefore, he can wield that as a stick. And when it suits him, when it's expedient, then he can use a carrot and say that, you know, you'll get 10 million here to pass a vote to impeach my deputy president because I'm fed up and I'm tired of him standing in the way of my schemes. And therefore, I need a more pliable, a more, you know, sort of soft person that I can mold and guide and, you know, be my instrument.
Did you actually have to bring in that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Huh? Let us strip this to its core, to its essence, to being one. And if you are a reader of the Bible, I want you to interrogate the story of Ahab, the real driver of Ahab's evil and sinfulness.
Ahab was an elected leader.
No, hold on. I'm just trying to use an example. Yeah. The real driver of the evil of Ahab, the king of Israel, was one Jezebel, and she had 450 prophets. Think about that.
We can use all kinds of terms to describe people, as long as we have partisan views. These are partisan views.
Everyone has partisan views here. Allow him to have his views. However partisan
how are you as objective? You as actually extreme.
Fwamba, I'm trying to extrapolate.
Let's allow him to finish. I'll come back to you, Fwamba.
Examples.
No. It's not about extreme. It's not about this man goes to a church, and I'm trying to marry what I am saying as a fact.
Hold on. Thou shalt not judge.
No. I'm entitled.
How do you allow this to proceed when we cannot be allowed to speak? When he speaks, we allow him, but when we start to speak, he intervenes.
No. Allow them, because I'll give you an opportunity.
That is not how we do it. That's not how it's done.
Let's have it a bit orderly, Fwamba.
Kindly.
Yes.
Wakili, kindly finish.
What I was saying is that I was asking him to familiarize himself with the story of Ahab in the Bible, because this is a person who goes to church and tells everybody that, you know, he is a proper person, and yet politics are played in church, and he knows very well how the church or the representative in the church say that, look, we have our own policy. Please don't bring the issue of money here, because then you're tainting our own image, and we would like to have our flock, and we would like to lead them in a way which is commensurate with our calling. Now, he's having a captive audience. Having a captive audience, I want to project it now to the nation, because he has a captive audience in us, and he has a captive audience also in Parliament, and that captive audience is subservient to him as the leader of the executive. And remember, some of these people in Parliament want relatives or whoever to get appointments in certain boards or whatever. And there is a remarkable example that I want to use, so that then I disabuse Mr. Fwamba of the notion that we are incepting our own theoretical analysis of this person, because I say he's a schemer and he's a very cunning person, very manipulative. There is Basil Kritikos, who was in a board of some parastatal. Last week, he was stripped of that, and he came out lamenting that it's because I am talking about my 10,000 acres of land being taken over in Taita. What am I saying? That the person who oversaw that appointment then recalled it, because then he's personalized this person's lamentation about a legal issue. So you find that this is a president who uses his power in a manner we would call bad governance, abuse of office, and he is not going to take any criticism.
You don't think that the ability of any president to ensure that Parliament goes his way, because it's about persuasion as well, politics, whichever method he has used to persuade both houses of Parliament to see everything his way, don't you think that that is good politics?
No, that's not good politics. That's not good politics, because there is an assumption, in my humble view, in this democratic paradigm that we have in the Constitution, that you as a president, upon being elected, you have these, representatives through your political goodwill that you have supporting you as a majority in Parliament, and therefore you're able to move your agenda in Parliament. But now, such is not the case, because the Kenyan people, when they are going to vote during the last election, were, cut asunder. I mean, there were those for Azimio, there were those for his Kenya Kwanza, and you had those independents, quite a sizable number of them. And so you find that then in Parliament, he doesn't have the majority that would be assumed, as it were, presumptively, that he has by virtue of his having been elected as a president. And so that weakens the whole structure of Parliament, because the independent, how much conversation do you hear of the independence in Parliament? And yet, they were voted by their own people to represent...
Isn't that the voters' problem and not the president's problem?
Politics, because we're a democracy.
Yes.
And the president is supposed to have capacity to work with all the institutions that are there.
But where do you put the line between
and
good
work
governance?
with them means that
governance.
he's supposed to explain to the parliament about the policies that are being worked on by the cabinet. And through that, when parliament approves a decision from the cabinet, it means they are representing you. You voted for them for 5 years. So if you have voted for them, it means you ceded your authority to the members of parliament. Your member of parliament thinks for you in terms of decision making up to the 5th year. So if you think he has not represented you the way you wanted, then on the 5th year, you'll vote them out. If you think they have represented you well, then you vote for them again and again. So we are a democracy. You cannot just come and say that the president is manipulating parliament or he's having... It doesn't work that way.
Anyway, a quick one. We must also, or rather, this is the point. The president is the greatest propagandist we've ever had in this country.
More than Madiba himself.
As in, he's a proper propagandist. He's literally, he gets away with literally whatever he wants. See this. The president has bought loyalty. You just don't shout that we are a democracy. We are a constitutional democracy.
Right.
There's a reason why we are a constitutional democracy. That the people are the sovereign. And that when they get representatives, the representatives are supposed to work for the common good. And that laws apply to everybody. So, I would actually clap for the president if he's actually been able to get the parliament under his armpit, and he's getting everything. He even doesn't have a cabinet. He literally makes the decision there. There's no one in that cabinet who can actually speak up to him and challenge an idea.
Is that the politics?
There's none.
You attend cabinet.
Are
you a member of cabinet?
Those who have been there have told us.
Would you describe that as good politics? As a politician and as a party?
That's hearsay.
We do not have a cabinet. We have got a prefect's board. A few guys he can send round. As in, and his cabinet is like Form 1s in our days. They are there to be seen, not to be heard. They just
but even look at the ideas.
What is the role of the cabinet?
Look at the ideas. They were all his. They were all his.
So you cannot tell me that those guys sitting in the cabinet moving around with flags literally are members of the cabinet.
But again, is in the presence of those ideas.
It is Maliba speaking now.
We only have, but the president only has cabinet members because it's required constitutionally. Otherwise, he will run this country single-handedly. Because everything he's doing, it's about him. And by the way, I would clap for him if all these Inkalimeva tricks, whatever he's doing, if this was actually leading to the good, the public good. But do we see the public good? No. We only see the benefits derived out of these cunning games to his friends, cronies, and family. That is where it stops. So, if these things translated to public good, I will honestly be the first person that claps for the president. But all we see here, and I have told you, the only reason why we are getting into a PPP to manage driving licenses, quote unquote, is because somebody has told him that if you have got 10 million people, and on those 10 million people with driving licenses, we charge them 500.
Are we judging?
Let me speak.
Are we judging the NIF?
I am a government technician, so I know what I am actually saying.
But
that this is a procurement-based thinking. You see policy from where it's coming from. Do we have a real problem that NTSA cannot solve? No. Okay. This idea, and the same way, like I've told you, you come up with the infrastructure fund, it's not. The president looks at our problems and then designs a solution that
Isn't it a bit premature
directly to his pocket.
Isn't it premature to gauge the success of the infrastructure fund this early? It was
look at this. You know where that is going. I told you, look at this.
You've already seen it?
You see? Look at this.
Politics.
Look at this. In the Muli, you do not need to be a cook to tell bad food. You don't have to have gone to Italy to actually say that this is bad food. I'll tell you this. First of all, and everything is always done systematically. You start with taking away the power of parliament when it comes to privatization. And then now you come up with a place where all that money will go. When he says that the infrastructure fund will be collecting, where does it collect from? It will collect from you and I. Already next year, your pay slip is actually going to be hit. So, we cannot sit here and be told, let us wait. You know, we already have seen this is poison, but we are being told, wait until poison gets into your heart and then you start complaining. We know why all these things have actually failed in the past. It's a selfish approach, and to be very clear, I have told you, the infrastructure fund, the driving license, a lot of these good-sounding policies and revolutionary ideas that we are getting are the modern day Goldenberg and Anglo-leasing scandals that some of us are actually going to be forced to deal with in future.
Okay.
And what are they supposed to be doing here? The only person who's going to quote and quote Singapore, the president is speaking, is about himself. He's the one who's actually raising money to become a Singapore individual. Okay. Him as an individual, his friends and family.
Right.
And you look at how he has actually done all his appointments.
Fred, in the Muli, I would like
Fred,
urge my friends, Wakili Kinyanjui,
as he takes the podium, may I ask him only two questions
you are going to
so that he will address.
Please take a question. Take a question.
Mr. Fwamba, are you paid by the government of Ruto to come here and defend it? No. It's my question.
I'm here to speak the truth.
Are you paid?
I'm not even that government.
Okay,
no.
Which truth?
I'm here to speak the truth.
Okay, heckling is not
you
truth.
people are pessimistic.
No.
And only expressing speculation here.
Heckling is not truth.
You are heckling.
You are the one who has been heckling. Now, I want
because
to give
you guys are
not. No, please,
he has done this to us before. I want him to actually feel exactly what he has done to us. Exactly what you did to us.
By the government.
You cannot be here to shout us down.
On the government
there is no
implementation
focus
of the project.
Okay.
My second question.
See, the issue is all your mics are off now. All your mics are off. All your mics are off.
I hope he feels what
all your mics are off.
Now, thank you.
No one can hear you, Fwamba, until I give you the opportunity. Go ahead now.
Yeah.
Maliba, please settle down.
I wanted him to feel it.
Please, Wakili. So that you can respond.
No, the first one was a personal question that doesn't make sense and is irrelevant to this debate. No. We are talking about national issues, not individual issues.
Why are you so stung when he raises a point that is, representative of the Kenyan position? When I say something that is representative of the Kenyan, why are you stung?
Thank you, Wakili.
Let's allow him to whatever you are saying is representative of the people. What confirms that what Wakili is saying represents the interests of Kenyans? When he's not saying anything that is positive about Kenyan interests. All they are trying to do together with Arnold Madiba is poking holes in every government project that has been proposed. So you want the president to be elected and then for 5 years just there sitting because he's afraid of Kinyanjui and Arnold Madiba blaming him in the name of representing Gachagwa's interest. You see that? I saw him mentioning about the impeachment. This impeachment thing keeps on paying Gachagua supporters like Wakili Kinyanjui here.
Who told
so that's why they convert every argument to come.
He's casting aspersions
You're getting at hominem now.
Gentlemen, let's focus on the issue because what we are...
So my problem here in the Muli is that I want my colleagues here to focus on the issues that are at hand and be patriotic a bit by having a positive mind.
Sucking up to the administration is not patriotism.
That the initiatives that are being carried by the government are part of the mandate. No,
simping to
that's part of the responsibility
that
we have voted for the president to lead you. This is not simping.
You are simping for this administration.
He has his right. He has his right to do
this man is the spokesman of UDA.
He then cannot talk to us.
This man
cannot decide what
man used to be UDA spokesman.
Let's talk to Wakili.
That is in the past.
Let's talk to Wakili.
Talk to the point, not to the person.
So you cannot change the story and start just because you have some decisions.
Let me engage Wakili. Wakili, the issue is now the cabinet has approved a limited liability company to run the infrastructure fund. It is the legal questions that we want to look at. If at all Parliament has failed so far in the kind of legislation they've come up with, there are real concerns that you've raised before you all went and took a tangent and started talking about everything else apart from the main issue.
It's him.
Is there still an opportunity to salvage anything that we may feel is going wrong, probably through the courts?
Well, from where I see it, this is with tremendous respect to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice ought to be seen to emphasize the authority of the judiciary, not to be seen and viewed, as is happening now, to be in bed, in cahoots with an executive that is running roughshod on the rest of the institutions and the country. How I mean is this. If there are orders on the court, and remember, the authority of the judiciary is exercised pursuant to Article 159(1) on behalf of the Kenyan people through its pronouncements. And if you have, for instance, a court order that says, we forbid you from evicting these people in such and such a place, I'm not going to mention because the case is pending in court, and please hold your horses while we adjudicate on this issue. Served with that court order, the functionaries in government disobeyed, and life goes on, and you see people on our screens on a daily basis, lamenting, wasn't there a court order that we should have at least had the protection of? Let me remind the Chief Justice, with tremendous respect, Article 27(1) of the Constitution says, everyone has a right to the protection of the law. So, and that is what the judiciary should be upholding on a daily basis. So when the executive tramples on court orders, as we saw through those evictions in Jogoo Road, nothing has happened. If I were the Chief Justice, no one would sleep that is liable in having trampled on those court orders. Because the authority of the judiciary is then denigrated, downtrodden, and everybody thinks that the executive is above the law. The executive can do what they want. They can come and impose on us their fee levy, whatever levy, housing levy, and whatever it is, and deduct that from your pay slip, and we have absolutely no protection of the law. So in my humble view, I see that the two funds that are being set up outside the prescription of the law, the prescription of the Constitution, ought to be at least brought to heel by the exercise of judicial authority. And I'm not trying to overrun anybody who wants to go to court on account of this. And what we have is a conundrum, and allow me to finish with this point, with tremendous respect. While the president is, as it were, immune to proceedings during his tenure, but not outside his tenure. And by virtue of that, I think he takes this carte blanche free will that he can do whatever he wants outside, within, or within the periphery of the law without being questioned. And I beg to differ that there have been decisions made that the Honorable Attorney General, being representative and having the power to advise the government, can and should be sued for those actions that the government or the executive takes that are outside the prescription of the law. But again, the question is the judiciary should I say motivated to ensure that in fact the president's actions are brought to heel? Not.
You are an officer of the court.
Yes, I am.
And that question should be directed to you. That now that we've talked about the obvious weaknesses of the legislative arm, the next place for us to look for any remedy is the judiciary. Now you're expressing serious doubts about us getting any remedy from that end.
I'm saying, now hear me out. We have very hard-working judicial officers, and I highly respect them. In fact, sometimes I express shock at how they are able to manage. You have caseloads that are totally humanly impossible to manage, but they somehow manage. They have family lives, I believe, that are very constricted because of the demands on the judiciary. And you have now this railroading into an e-system that is basically serving the colonizers. You're giving the colonizers your ability. You have open courts. You're not utilizing. The judicial officers then are bound by what the Chief Justice says. They have no say in it. I respect those judges. I respect those magistrates tremendously. And this is my lamentation to the Chief Justice on their behalf. No one has sent me. Let me qualify that. No one has sent me. They make a pronouncement. And in the evening, when that piece of news hits the news, the executive is out there using whatever mechanism to try and reach that judicial officer. Is that permissible? Where is the channel of complaint that judicial officer ought to take in order to lament about that, and in order to say that, look, we have all these catcalls, we have all these abuses, we have all these, and the judiciary is not going to railroad us into whatever, outside our... The president uses the political podium to tarnish those judges' names. Okay. And I'm saying, the buck stops, in my view, with the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice ought to defend her judicial officers repeatedly, but she ought to emphasize, with respect to her, the authority of the judiciary, that we have interpreted the law, and we have given you the opportunity to defend your policy, your law, your decision, and we find it unconstitutional. Okay. Parliament, as I've found it, The executive, as I found it, they are not able to live with those decisions. And so the Chief Justice ought to say, take it or leave it. That is the Constitution, and that's what we should be.
All right, let's take a short break before I give Fomba an opportunity to come and finalize on this conversation. I know why I'm giving Fomba an opportunity, then I'll come to you. We're taking a short break. You're watching Morning Cafe.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tiaga. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
I mean, you know,
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema that I'm giving the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
All right, so the cabinet yesterday approved the establishment of the National Infrastructure Fund, which will be managed by a limited company. The Sovereign Wealth Fund as well has been approved, as well as a PPP to enable issues around driving licenses, new driving licenses. It is this models that we're trying to look at and the concerns around them. And Fomba, I guess the major criticism is that it would appear that it's William Ruto's way or nothing else. that every ambition is not bad, but every idea that he comes up with, however wild or however sober, goes through.
You know, in 2010 we passed that.
There's a word for that in terms of governance, where it's only one idea runs.
Autocracy.
And that's not the case. You know, Kenya is a democracy. And in 2010, we had a very progressive move as a country. We came up with a new constitution of 2010. And that gave us a very good democratic space, that we have checks and balances between the three arms of government. Those three arms of government were supposed to work in unison, in collaboration. It does not necessarily mean that one arm of government is supposed to antagonize the other. And that's why the executive has its own role, and it does not have to be antagonized by the judiciary or by the legislature or the other way around. For the first time, even under this new constitution, under the 2010 constitution, remember, during the COVID time, people were evicted around Kariobangi, and there was no compensation. But this time round, I saw eviction that Wakili Kenyanjui was talking about before we went for a break. People have come out saying that they were given notice according to the law, and they were given compensation for that, which means these are very progressive government. It's very democratic. We cannot continue saying that these are a one-man rule, and yet we have structures. This is just political perception that is being twisted by my colleagues here, because Parliament is independent, and all the decisions that are made procedurally according to the laws that we have. So the president has also his own role, because he was elected to lead us. He cannot just sit there and wait for 5 years to expire. At the end of the day, in 2027, he'll be judged on the basis of what he has delivered. If he remains afraid of the criticisms that he receives from people like Arnold Maliba and Wakili Kenyanjui here, then it means that the country will not move ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there have been examples of leaders in other jurisdictions who've probably, while in leadership positions, overstepped their mandate and probably felt confident enough, having ensured that they had control of the legislative arm and judiciary, but they were later punished for excesses. Do you think that in case, and I'm just looking for a way to give Kenyans confidence that, yeah, if at all something goes wrong, eventually someone will pay for it?
First of all, why it should make all of us shudder with fear is that what we are seeing today is exactly the reason why for 50 years in this country people fought for the second liberation. People did not want to have power accumulated and controlled by a single individual who then we would actually be at the mercy of his whims. And you know, when you depend on an individual, when a different individual, for example, we could say today, Fuamba is a good man, we give him all the power, he will do everything good for us. And then tomorrow, Wakili Kenyanjui comes in, and Wakili Kenyanjui does not ascribe to Fuamba's way of thinking, but he has got the power that Fuamba had. What happens is that then he will actually ruin us using the same power. That is why institutions are important. That is why processes are important. So that then we do not then accumulate and heap this power into a single individual's hands. And we have seen that many times when people have got unchecked power, it always goes bad. And that is why in making this constitution, our agreement was very basic. Let us make a constitution with so strong ropes so that even the worst, even if the worst amongst us were to rise to power, all of us will sleep peacefully, knowing that there is something else that can check them. So what we have today, the few years, actually the 2-3 years we've actually seen under William Ruto, is that we have seen a constant erosion of checks and balances. He went to parliament, brought in, committed incest, brought in opposition onto this other side. Today we have got a serious political incest that happens in this government, where you have got a people who are masquerading as the minority and at the same time they are part and parcel of the majority. That is not the constitutional order that we wanted. Mm-hmm. In strict legalities and those lines that Fuamba will actually pull on later on after I've actually spoken about it is here, it is that, it's good politics, it's in the constitution and that passes. You see, de facto it is wrong. Even if de jure you are not having red lines that you've actually crossed. So we are at a place where, number one, we have got a parliament that has, for lack and forgive my French, a parliament that has actually been castrated. There is no power, there is no oomph in parliament. We saw them actually weeping out very loudly saying, oh, we've done for this man everything, and he still calls us thieves and wakora. So we have got a parliament that doesn't know that it's parliament. The people were so frustrated with this parliament that the people stormed that particular parliament. Why did people storm parliament as an initial form of protest? It's because the people know that their representatives are in parliament. That is where their voice is. That is why tunaita wajumbe. Wamepewa ujumbe wetu. The same people who had actually insisted that the finance bill was good clapped for the president and gave him a standing ovation when, at the height of that particular standoff, he nullified the whole thing. So would you still want us to actually say that we have got a parliament? No, we have got a group of people who are actually earning salaries. And by the way, allow me.
I don't know.
Allow me.
I don't know for how long
for purposes of structuring this is that our parliament is full of very good CDF managers, but very few members of parliament.
Okay.
We do not have legislators there. So we are at a place where we cannot run away from this. The president is exercising autocracy. We have got institutions that have actually collapsed. The only one that is holding, and is holding by dint of the constitution, is actually the judiciary. And a lot of times they push it. It's only that this constitution has got a power and a way of self-correcting. And this is where we are going. I have told Kenyans, and I will repeat, this infrastructure fund is not about the roads and the highways you are being told. Those are the marketing lines for this.
The cost, I'm concerned about the cost, because we've had members of the United Opposition say that if or when they get to power, eventually, however long it happens,
they'll stop everything.
They will counter all these things. Now, what is the risk involved in that? Because now these are very serious engagements, very ambitious by President William Ruto.
These people in the United Opposition, and I've seen Maliba claiming that he's part of the United Opposition. Whatever pronouncements they keep on making, a number of them, is that they will stop anything that is happening if they ever gain power. Of course they will not. But that's so unstrategic. And that's why the president keeps on referring to some of them as being planless. Because the only plan that they have is to destroy
a number of things that were happening before.
Is to destroy what is already established. We need to appreciate the fact that a government is a going concern. So when you come, you continue with the projects and improve on them. And that's what the President Ruto has been doing. I don't think if the president has ignored any of the projects that were initiated. If they bring those kinds of arguments, they look like those that happen in the villages with the members of parliament, that every time they find a CDF project that was done by the previous member of parliament, they leave it and it ends up being a white elephant, which is not a good practice because ultimately it will be the loss to the taxpayers.
Because now, when you have a very ambitious president like the one we have right now, and ambition is not bad, then he leaves office without achieving everything or having achieved a good chunk of that. Then someone else who opposes him comes into power, enjoys probably similar power with control of the houses of parliament and probably to some extent the judiciary. And he or she is looking to reverse all this. What is the cost to Kenyans when we've made such an investment? All this, even an SSF increased contribution, is expensive to Kenyans.
Monumental. Excuse me. It's very unfortunate that what we have is a play of egos, both in parliament and in the executive. I don't want to say that of the judiciary, because I think the judicial officers are very much well-tempered and they operate within the constitutional legislative framework that we have. Very sadly, we have this idea, very warped, very evil, very wicked, of power. Political power is attained by they who ascribe to a bloated ego as the ultimate God. So that now we have a president who is drunk with that political power, and he has sunk into that arena, in the pit of that self-adoration. And he is, as it were, in my humble view, very nostalgic of the period of the one political party, KANU. And he's a product of it. So you can't largely blame him, but you would blame him because now he's within the constitutional confines of the 2010 Constitution, which he is acting outside of. So the lust for political power as a means then to gain economic empowerment, or at least theft of state resources, is what informs all these politicians. The gamut of them, I should say. I didn't say every one of them. The gamut. And so if you have now a president, a leader of the executive, who is actually the emblematic, he is representative of that last for power, it's inevitable you're going to see him projecting himself through those institutions or whatever projects that the state, quote unquote, embarks upon. And the loss that we would suffer is that if we have someone coming then as their successor, assuming power, in order then to counter that bloated ego, they have probably a different expression of their ego, and they want to pull this person down and therefore attack their institutions. How do I mean? What happened to Linda Mama? And I thought it was a very successful project. What happened to NHIF? And we have this sham of Shah and she, whatever, which again, I remind Fwamba when he defends it, it was declared unconstitutional. The case is pending in the Court of Appeal. They appealed. We succeeded for the people of this country, saying that those were illegal pieces of legislation. And you see, there is the demolition of that which was functional, which was working. And I'm very apprehensive, very afraid that this is a person who's going to raid the NSSF coffers in the name of this infrastructure fund. I'm very much afraid of that. So you find that the concept that someone has of leadership is far removed from what you find in Article 73 of the Constitution, or as espoused in the Leadership and Integrity Act. Tell me, Fred, tell me, and I'll ask Fwamba and Arnold, please, how is it that those members of parliament can pass the so-called Conflict of Interest Act, which he signs into law? And in its provisions says that if a public officer should stand suspended, he's on full pay. Mm-hmm. You tell me.
Okay.
I mean, what's the essence? And yet, the Public Officers Ethics Act, which it replaced, had said that you go, you step aside, you're on half pay. I mean, that is what you're talking about. There are no consequences. And so he is there signing that into law himself.
Thank you. Thank you. Because of time, only 30 seconds for something that's really pressing.
Let's talk about development.
30 seconds only.
It had to start somewhere, and I think the president has put the country on that trajectory of development to be a first world country. In any case, every time you do something, you cannot lack detractors and those people who think, the naysayers, people who have no hope, the pessimists of this world, like Arnold Maliba and Wakili Kinyanjui here. But that will not stop, Raila Odinga used to say, kelele ya zachura haziwezi fanya ng'ombe akose kunywa maji.
Thank you. 30 seconds only.
In the Muli, I just need to tell Kenyans, like when we show up this morning, we speak for an array of people. Like, for example, I would just remember I have got probably somebody in the village in Haega, a guy called Davis Ingoi, who would tell me ordinarily that when you go to the studio in the morning, please tell them this is how we feel. At least I spoke to people, and when I came here, I speak for so many. So when we come in here, of course, when we were here talking, I saw Fwamba's phone constantly getting messages, and some of them look like messages.
It's not propaganda. This is a massive propaganda.
So,
which messages is talking about?
Where? There was so many messages.
Oh, you did it.
Let me give you 30 seconds.
This is serious photos. You guys.
30 seconds for your final comment.
Yeah. I have to speak to the Kenyan people. We are in danger of neo-colonization. This is a person who takes a flight, goes to France, he's given a script to come and implement. He goes to China, he wants to come and implement. And yet we are choking in debt. He goes and signs those agreements without our approval, without parliamentary approval, and without any oversight. And then he comes and pushes down our throne this concept of his own. He dreams at 3 a.m. and I don't know whom he talks to. And then he tells us, that's the ambition that I want to have of Kenyan people. Let him have some respect for the Kenyan people. We want a Kenya for us, not what he is dreaming for us.
Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, thank you so much. Political analyst Fwamba, NC Fwamba. And Arnold Maliba was a party leader, Progress Plus Alliance, our panelist this morning on State of the Nation. Thank you so much for your time. at TV47. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for keeping it at TV47 and for watching Morning Cafe. And being 9 days to Christmas, yes, we are indeed in the festive season, and I'm here to plug you. The festive season, there's only one place that feels like home for celebrations. Welcome to Fun City Gardens in Utawala, where fun meets family and every moment becomes a memory. From end-of-year corporate parties to school fun days, festive events and magical family gatherings, they bring your celebrations to life with entertainment, great food, swimming, spacious venues and activities for everyone. So this holiday season, celebrate big, celebrate happy and celebrate at Fun City Gardens for fun for the whole family. You can call and make a booking through WhatsApp 0722-238-988. Call or WhatsApp 0722-238-938. My name is Fred Indemuli. Good morning.